Okay, so this is the road to the site. You see that white object in the background? That's a camper that's temporarily parked there. That's going to be moving in a week or whenever is a convenient time to move it. But the main road comes up from the street here, and it goes on up to the house at the top of the hill. So that's my house. This is a pasture. Down here, this is the road. You can see blackberries need to be trimmed back on the sides. We had a F-250 come through here and drop the camper off. So you can see, it's been in and out of here a couple of times. I've driven my SUV through here a couple of times. We have a ditch dug on the side that's roughly about a foot deep. It's kind of hard to tell from this video, but it's roughly a foot deep that just needs to be cleared out and maintained. This area is kind of a watershed, so we've got water that runs down the hill. It's kind of like a bowl, and it comes through here. And so we need to make sure the water stays off of the road. There's another ditch on the other side, which is really just for good measure. It's not really necessary because it's on the downside of the hill. But so the water basically, runs along this side of the road and then through these tubes and down the hill. It's difficult to tell the slope from this angle, but there's a gentle slope that goes down. So there's some sticks, that need to be burnt. That can be a bonfire or something like that. Periodically, so this area is kind of wet. The area off to the left is kind of wet, so it drains in the springtime, and so we've put in a few drainage under the road here. Notice how the road is bare, there's no gravel on it. So in an inundation, when you get a lot of rain, it can get muddy. There's also a few spots like this where we actually had to cut a tree that was here. So there's a root structure that's still kind of popping out of the ground, which can be solved in a number of ways. So I've begun removing it, but it's a lot of work to really remove stumps. So at this point, I'd like to try to break out the remainder of the wood, using an axe or something, and then probably fill in the road such that you don't notice that it's a lump sticking out. So it's kind of hard to see the profile, but you can kind of see something there. We also have, so this is the tree that was there. It's just fallen and cut. I kind of put it as a side marker for the road, just to delineate what's the road and what's not. Ideally, this is really good wood, either for firewood or primitive building lumber. So ideally you'd have a chainsaw and you could cut that up and use it or burn it or build something with it. Same thing on this side. We've got a few smaller trees that I just delineate the edge with. This is mostly just kind of flat, and during the summer months the ground bakes hard. But since it just rained last night and this morning, you can still see it's hard, but it has the potential to get muddy if we let water run out onto it. So ideally this portion from the side of the camper to about this tree right here that you're seeing, this area right here really needs some kind of ditch dug on the side, and that's about 50 feet worth that it needs, which is just work. I mean, a long weekend or a couple of weekends, short weekends, something like that. And then of course, so here's the actual site, which is nice because it's grass and it's cut recently. Maintaining your site would be part of the deal. I mean, I can come through here and weed whack it, once a month or something like that, just to keep it low. But the blackberries, they're growing up on the side, and it'd be a good idea to have some cutters to just keep them trimmed back as well. You're pretty private out here. You can see mountains in the distance if it's a sunny day. Today's a very cloudy day, so you're not going to see too much. but snow-capped peaks most of the summer, or most of the year. And this over here, we just kept this tree here in the middle because it provides shade for the summer months. If you wanted to take that down, you could. This circular area would really be yours to maintain. This area here is where the power and the water come from. We have a well that's probably about 50 or 75 feet from here, straight through, and that supplies 2 15-amp lines and a good supply of well water as well. That's pressure regulated. So yeah, that is the basics. And there's a few like ruts in the ground. It's not totally smooth, is what I'm trying to say. From a distance it looks like a lawn, but you get up close and there's, you can see my foot. It's kind of, 4 inches deep or so. So spots like that would be nice to get filled in. So that's the basic. Here's another one. This one's a little deeper. This is about 6 inches deep. So filling that in. Here's an old stump. It'd be nice to have that like pulled into a fire pit and burned or something. So yeah, that's the basics. All right.